Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the morning show. I'm back. Did you miss me? Adrian, did you miss me? He says he did. I wasn't here yesterday. They're just making me feel better. But we do have a special guest here in the studio today, and it's Dr. Sibert. We're going to be talking about pulmonology, and you are here from Holzer.
Yes, ma'am.
So welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. We're going to find out all about you and lungs and all that stuff here in just a moment. And our good friend Kaylin from Lake Hope is also here. We're going to find out about something special they have coming up this weekend. And I'm going to ask her about the two-headed snake that is in a pet store in California and see what she thinks about that.
Sounds great.
Are you a snake person?
Herpetologist. It's a snake and reptile person.
Oh, gosh, he knows all these fancy words. Well, we'll find out all about that here in just a moment, too. So let's have a break, and we'll be right back.
At Vinton County National Bank, we believe in supporting the areas where we live and work. Now, we'd like to honor those who also serve our communities. Our new Community Champions account is especially for first responders, veterans, active military, and anyone employed in the fields of healthcare or education. This account offers rewards, discounts, and other benefits to those who give so much to others. Vinton County National Bank, rewarding those who serve.
All right, and we are back with Dr. Sibert, pulmonologist from Holzer, and we have found, Kaylin, I think that you might need to resign because he knows. He knows all the terminology. We were just talking about this two-headed snake that I saw on the news this morning, and you actually know about that.
Well, yeah.
Which is so weird.
Yeah, you learn about, different fetal abnormalities and changes in the way that cells divide. And yeah, one of the common genes that causes problems in cell division is called Sonic Hedgehog, named after the video game character.
How did we get from one to the other? That is wild. So now you know.
There you go. Happy to be of service.
Thank you. See, our doctors from Holzer know all. No, all kidding aside, welcome to the program. Welcome to our area.
Thank you.
You were telling me off the air that you've lived a little bit everywhere.
Yeah.
So can you start off by telling everybody a little bit about yourself?
Sure.
And if you would pull that mic up to you just a little bit there. Yep.
All right. I hope that's okay.
Yep.
Yeah, my name is Thomas Sibert. I am a physician here at Holzer. I live over in West Virginia. Did my training sort of all over the place. I was in medical school in Philadelphia, did my residency in Los Angeles, did my training for subspecialty in pulmonology and critical care over in Massachusetts, and now I've made my way down here. I'm working at Holzer in Gallipolis and in Jackson.
Okay, so both places.
Yep.
That's amazing. And how on earth do you end up in Jackson and in West Virginia from, Los Angeles?
Well,
that is a wild story.
It takes a while.
It does. A lot of miles.
Yes, with a dog in tow.
Oh, hey, listen. I would take my dogs anywhere, so yes, I got you. So you had a little bit of an incident this morning. Is your car still alongside the road somewhere?
I would check, but I think I gave my phone to my counterpart. Yes. But supposedly it's being towed. Had a blowout on 35.
Poor
car
guy.
Seems to be okay. I'm certainly okay. We'll find out.
Did you walk here?
I did not. I was able to use a rideshare app. I wasn't in a dead zone on 35, and then got a ride from one of my colleagues at Holzer, which is about the best I could hope for.
Did Carrie just slow down and you jumped in as she was driving down 35?
Yeah, pretty much. My ride slowed down. I don't know that it stopped. I got in her car and we got here.
I can see it now.
Quick transfer.
Yes. We got to get there on time. No, this is dedication.
Hey, I wasn't going to miss it.
We appreciate that
My pleasure.
because you could have very well postponed. We would have understood.
It was a nail biter.
I bet. No, it's like, I don't know why flat tires and like glass breakage and stuff, I feel like you feel so helpless because there's nothing physically that you can do to like fix that issue?
I can tell you that my car does not carry a spare. So yeah, in my case, there was certainly nothing that could be done.
You know what? I've heard a lot of people say that now, that they don't have spare tires in like the newer cars, which is so strange to me.
Yep.
Like, what are you supposed to do?
Call for help.
I guess. Who knew? That's one of those things you never think about until it actually happens to you, and then
Yep,
you're like, wait, do I have a spare tire?
I'm probably going to change that practice.
Yeah, right, exactly. We should all, be a little more vigilant about that. But, well, let's talk about pulmonology. And I guess when you think of pulmonology, you think of lungs.
Yep.
So what made you get into this field?
Oh, that's a great question. So when I was studying medicine, it's going to sound sort of silly, but I really enjoyed mechanical physics. I enjoyed understanding just how things moved across the body, how blood moved across the body, how just air moved through the body, and it was essentially just down to my enjoyment of that basic science, and then getting into it and meeting a lot of the patients. And feeling like it really called to me. Pulmonologists often work also in critical care with the sickest patient in the hospital. We work a lot with the breathing machines for people on life support.
Wow.
That was also just something where I felt very at home, helping people through some of the worst moments of their lives. And it's something that as soon as I became a part of it, I knew I wanted to stay in it.
That's so interesting. And I'm sure as we went through... I don't know how long you've been out of school, but this global pandemic COVID situation, there were a lot of obviously breathing issues. Did that have anything to do with your decisions?
Quite honestly, no. When I was applying to subspecialize in lungs, it was actually before the pandemic hit.
Okay.
So
you got thrown into it then.
Exactly. So
wow.
By the time I entered into pulmonology critical care, that was right as the pandemic started. I was in Los Angeles when the pandemic hit. That was where I saw my first patients with COVID. And then by the time I was in fellowship in Massachusetts, it was in the middle of the whole thing. So I spent most of the beginning of my fellowship dealing largely with patients who were, dealing with the pandemic on their own and
very ill,
helping people through it. Yeah.
Well, if you had any question about whether you wanted to stick with the profession, that was a good way to figure it out, right?
It was not what anybody expected, and a lot of people did everything they could to rise to the occasion and help people as best they can. And it, frankly, if anything, it was reaffirming. There were a lot of doctors called to do things that they did not have a great deal of expertise in, and actually being trained in pulmonology and critical care made me a much more valuable resource, made the knowledge and the teaching that I'd had much more valuable. And I think was lucky, because the truth is that I felt a lot more comfortable treating patients in the pandemic than a lot of physicians who had not had that subspecialty training.
Sure, that they got thrown to the wolves, literally. Yeah. You gotta figure it out and move on, because you guys, take an oath to help people.
Yeah. And people did absolutely everything they could to the best of their ability, and it was a lot of conversations with pulmonologists like me trying to help other physicians make sure they were managing patients to the best of our ability.
And not to harp on that, but that had to be, you all are learning the same as everybody else on some of these conditions. Like when COVID first comes out, nobody, really knew what was happening.
Yeah, I think that with COVID in particular, it was part of a series of viruses, the coronaviruses. So we had experience with things like MERS, which is the Middle Eastern Respiratory Virus, with prior viral outbreaks. So we had a good base of knowledge for dealing with severe respiratory illnesses in terms of the mechanics of that. I think where people were really breaking a lot of new ground was primarily on the vaccine end of things. It was a vaccine rollout unlike any that has been done before. It was the fastest that humanity has ever really come together to develop a vaccine to prevent the spread of a pandemic. So I think in terms of really breaking profound new ground, that was where we saw it. And frankly, that's a lot of what saved the most lives. By the time patients were getting as sick as they were to end up in the ICU, we're saving one life at a time. But it was really the people working in public health and in creating those vaccines that did the most to protect the most people.
Well, very good. You're being very humble, but so thank you for what you do, as well as that was not anything that anyone was expecting. So, tell us about as a pulmonologist, what's your day look like? At Holzer, and who are the patients that you're seeing? Who are you helping?
Okay, so my typical day at Holzer, it sort of depends. So. There are days when I work in the OR, and on days when I work in the OR, that tends to be the first thing I do in the morning is I'm going to see my patients who are planning to go into the operating room.
Okay.
Most of what I'm doing on days when I am in the operating room is what's called a bronchoscopy, if you've heard of a colonoscopy. It is a similar idea. We are going in with a camera, a very different camera, I should say.
It's not the same camera,
smaller
is it?
camera, and we're looking inside the lungs. And probably the thing that I do the most often there is we do biopsies of tissue around the lungs, of tumors, to diagnose cancers and different sorts of lung diseases. And we can do that with a bronchoscope, which is, again, just a tiny fiber optic camera. I wish I'd brought one with me. That would have been a good thing to show off.
Yeah, that would have been fun. But next time, you have to come back.
Yeah, and we can use actually like a tiny ultrasound on the tip of the bronchoscope to look outside. So if this is the airway, we can actually look at a little tumor outside the airway, and then I can take a teeny tiny needle and pass it through the airway to get samples of things that are outside of there. Yeah.
That's fascinating.
It is... I love my job.
I'll bet. I mean, that just has to be so rewarding to help people out.
It is. It really is.
So what are some of the I guess, diseases, for lack of better words, or conditions?
That's correct. Disease is right.
That people would have that they would end up seeing you as a doctor?
Yeah, so it's a very broad range of things. I mentioned diagnosing lung cancers. Looking at lung nodules, which are essentially just abnormalities on people's chest x-rays, helping to determine what those are. Chronic lung diseases, things like asthma, COPD, smoking-related lung disease, occupational lung diseases, things like coal miners' pneumoconiosis, what we call black lung, asbestosis, other asbestos-related diseases. But the truth is that, essentially anything to do with the lungs, it's going to come through my office.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And, I guess there's probably some things, we talk about, working out and protecting your heart and your organs. Like, no one really talks about what you can do to help your lungs. Obviously,
well, I try to.
That's why you're here today, right? No, don't smoke, I assume, would be number one, or vape. But
sure, I would say the strong advice is breathe air and don't breathe things that aren't air. I think if you can start with that you're going to be off to a great start.
That makes sense.
As far as diet and exercise go, that is also helpful to the lungs. So when you're thinking about the lungs, a simple way to think about it is, as you put on weight, your lungs don't get any bigger. So you are going to be hauling around more and more with that same pair of lungs that are trying to give oxygen to the entire body. And when it comes to having extra weight on board, obesity, things like that, you're going to be putting more stress on your lungs, asking more of your lungs, and it's going to be hard to get by. So diet, absolutely a huge part of it. And exercise, 1,000%. There is no part of the body that does not benefit from moderate exercise.
Yeah, and moving your butt and losing weight go hand in hand. So therefore, do both. But no, it is amazing. I've been on a little bit of a weight loss kick lately, and going and seeing my primary physician, she said, "Oh, you've lost like 15 pounds or whatever. I'm like, yeah. And she's like, oh my gosh, your blood pressure's like not sky high as much as it was. And, your cholesterol's so much better. And I'm like, it's amazing just that little bit.
It is pretty incredible. But yeah, study after study has demonstrated that losing 10% on the order there of someone's body weight has profound health impact across their organs.
Sure.
So yeah, absolutely.
Very, very good. So let's talk about, okay, do you want to talk about COPD first or asthma first?
We can go alphabetical, that's fine.
Okay.
So asthma, sure. So asthma is characterized by a few things, cough, chest tightness, and wheeze. So probably the most typical presentation of asthma I see, I'll say exclusively adult patients. There may be very rare occasions when I work with children, primarily in emergencies. But we'll say exclusively adult patients in general. And in adults, typically, you're talking about people who had asthma as a child. Now, what's interesting about asthma is that it tends to get better as people get into adolescence and being a teenager. In some fraction of people, after around age 40, asthma tends to come back. All right.
Well, darn you, asthma.
It's not the majority of people, but yeah, that's typically the common adult asthma patient I see. The other one is what's called occupational asthma. So folks who have never had asthma before, they start a new job where they're exposed to some new irritant for the lungs, and then suddenly they start developing asthma symptoms. Sometimes those can be symptoms that are just related to that exposure and only occur during that exposure. And other times they can sort of trigger an asthma that stays within the rest of their lives.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah. So if you're not someone who's ever, wheezed before and you start a new job and you start wheezing, probably time to see a doctor. That's certainly not normal, and it's something that should be addressed because at the very least you could probably benefit from treatment.
What are the signs of asthma, I guess? I know you said wheezing, but how do you know whether you're just out of breath, or, there's a serious problem?
Yeah. So I think that in general, because I think, signs of asthma in particular, the things we talk about, wheeze, the cough, the chest tightness, sure. I think that a good general rule is to understand that cough is never normal, all right? There's nobody who should be coughing. And now, sometimes you're going to cough and you know why. You've had a cold, right?
Yeah,
you've got a lot of allergies and you got a lot of runny nose, that sort of thing, all right?
'Tis the season right now, right?
But if you're coughing all the time, nobody should be doing that, all right? If you're coughing and you're not sure why, that's worth questioning, all right? And the other thing is just keeping up with people your age. If you find that you have been able to keep up with people your age and suddenly they're slowing down for you, all right? You can't keep up with them as well. There is no point in a natural, healthy human life where shortness of breath is normal, all right? And going back to what you said about staying active, if you are someone who has been active and suddenly you are not able to do the activity, or not even suddenly, but maybe progressively, maybe slowly, you're finding that you cannot keep up with what you used to be doing, especially with people your own age.
Okay.
That is a great sign that there could be a lung problem that ought to be checked out.
Okay.
So I would say, in general, for lung disease, those are the sorts of things that people should look at.
Is it possible for somebody that has never had a sign of asthma as a child or in adolescence to develop it later on in life?
Yeah, and that's sort of the common situation there is that occupational asthma, where they're suddenly exposed to
maybe a chemical
or
a
new
something.
Environment, a new irritant, what have you.
Okay.
And yeah, absolutely. The other possibility is that there are people who have primarily what's called an allergic asthma, and they have never been exposed to something that they're allergic to. And now they have this new allergic exposure, and if they had never been exposed to it before, and now suddenly they are, there you go.
Gotcha. Interesting. Okay. That makes total sense. So let's talk about COPD.
Sure.
And I guess when I think of that is just caused by smoking, but I'm sure that that's not necessarily all the case.
Great. Yeah, absolutely. So COPD is the C is chronic, O obstructive, P pulmonary, and D is disease. So chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. In the U.S., primary cause, absolutely smoking. All right.
Okay.
Outside the U.S. and in the U.S. in lower numbers, there are absolutely other things that can cause it. Probably the most common one is burning of biofuels. So burning logs, gasoline, things of that nature. People who are in an enclosed environment with a lot of smoke, that can absolutely cause COPD. Some of the less common ones, there are some causes of COPD that actually run in families. There can be genetic causes.
That makes sense.
Something called alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency is a problem with one of the proteins that breaks down and replaces lung tissue. It does not have the off button. And that can cause COPD in people who have had no risk factors. So yeah, those are the typical causes. Again, smoking is by far and away the number one. In 2019, it was the third leading cause of death worldwide. Is profoundly debilitating disease in later stages. By far and away, the most important aspect of treatment, quit smoking. There's absolutely more to be done than that. Things like long-acting inhalers to help keep the airway open, reduce the amount of mucus that builds up, help people with their shortness of breath. In fact, recently, people may have seen on TV a new biologic or an antibody therapy that's injectable was just approved for treatment of people with severe COPD that has helped a lot of patients who qualify for that. So it is a disease that can range from mild to severe, can be completely debilitating. And some patients with COPD will even go on to need lung transplants and qualify for them.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's avoid that.
Absolutely.
Which is where you come in too. I mean, in helping, hopefully catching things early and whatever.
Yeah.
And if all's not lost, that's why you are here. You're a doctor.
Oh,
and
far from it.
People need to come see you.
Absolutely. I think speaking of all is not lost, I think the big point to say about quitting smoking is that there is no point in your life where it is too late to benefit from quitting. We have studies in people going up to their 80s that show people live longer after quitting. All right?
Okay.
So I don't want anybody to be under the impression that, they've smoked so much, they've done all this damage, there's no sense in quitting. It's just absolutely not true.
Okay.
We have the data. You will live better and longer if you quit, no matter when you quit.
Okay.
All right? But sooner is better.
Yes, the sooner the better. Well, let's talk about. I know asbestos. You hear call James Sokolov and all these attorneys and whatever if you've been exposed to coal mines or asbestos or this or that. What is that? What's the deal with that?
Look, I'll take public health wherever it comes from, even a lawyer. Asbestos is
you will be rich.
It is a rock. You mine it. It is a fantastic insulator, and then we found out that it resulted in a lot of very severe lung illness and cancer. So
after the fact.
Okay. So asbestos typically takes on the order of 20 years, sometimes more, to actually show up as a disease in a person. So it was relatively hard to link with the actual exposure because the problem occurred so much later.
Gotcha.
But asbestos can cause a number of different lung problems. I mentioned lung cancer. It can cause cancer to the lining of the lung, which is called mesothelioma, which is probably what you've heard about on TV. It can cause cancer inside the lungs, which is typically what you think of when people say lung cancer. And it can cause disease both inside the lungs and around the lungs. It can cause fluid to build up around the lungs. So asbestosis in particular is the term we use for when you've been exposed to asbestos and that asbestos starts to cause buildup of scar tissue around the lung. It's called pulmonary fibrosis, and essentially what happens is that there is destruction of the lung tissue that has been exposed to the asbestos fibers, and that can be progressive to the point where it begins to involve the entirety of the lung, essentially replacing that lung with scar tissue. It can be.
Oh, that sounds awful.
It is. It can be a completely debilitating disease. It is completely appropriate that people who were exposed without the appropriate protections get compensation for that. In terms of things that have done the most to prevent it, it's hats off to OSHA. You go on the Occupational Safety and Health website, and there are pages and pages of all the things that you should be doing if you are exposed to asbestos. It is worth saying that asbestos in a wall, not disrupted, not dangerous. All right?
Sure.
So please don't think that because you're in a building that may have asbestos in it that you are exposed. It is.
No, it's just really well insulated.
It is, exactly. If you are not disrupting it, so if you are not in that wall, if you are not fixing pipes that have been insulated with asbestos, then that's not an exposure. But if you are doing one of those things, whether it's working construction, demolition, plumbing, what have you, especially in an older building, absolutely critical that you have the proper safety equipment,
Yeah.
the masks. You should have a set of clothing unique for that purpose. You should have showers, separate lunchrooms. Absolutely should not be smoking on the job. And those
Or just in
regulations.
general.
Or just in general, thank you. But yeah, those regulations have unquestionably saved lives.
Yeah.
And you know that it may feel like a real pain to have to go through all of that on one of those jobs.
Sure, I get
but
that.
a single exposure to asbestos for a few minutes can result in cancer 20 years later.
Yeah.
Especially, and it really just depends on how much is disrupted, how much is in the air. So absolutely critical that people who are in those jobs with those exposures are taking all those precautions.
Well, we want you to all be safe
Yes,
out there.
please.
So very good. Okay, so how does someone end up with you or to you as a patient? You know, how do they? What's the route?
So it depends. Typically, patients come to see me through one of a few ways. Their primary care physician can refer them. So if they have been working with a primary care physician, there's a lung problem that has progressed despite treatment with their primary care physician, or the primary care physician just feels off the bat that there is something that really needs a specialist evaluation, they'll refer to me. The other way is somebody ends up sick in a hospital, and I see patients as a consult,
Sure.
a specialist consult, while they're inpatient, especially over at Holzer Galleries. And after that, depending on what's going on, they may end up being referred to my clinic. And the other time is I've got a lot of patients who are just looking to have a lung doctor closer to home. And sometimes they'll just request a switch.
Listen, I get that. That's so convenient. You know, we are so fortunate here in our little area to have Holzer and, you know, all of the access to healthcare that we do have here. So. And
I'd be remiss if I didn't shout out my cardiology colleagues. I work in the cardiology and pulmonology offices over at Holzer and Gallipolis, and we spend a lot of time good-naturedly haggling about trying to understand where a problem's coming from, if it's primarily a heart problem or a lung problem.
Sure.
So we do and I should be very clear, we are great colleagues, and we are always working together to try to answer these questions.
Sure.
But I get a lot of referrals from my cardiology colleagues for patients who have been referred to them for problems with their breathing that are thought to be cardiac related, and then they end up in front of me because the cardiologists evaluate them and
That
think
makes
that they're
sense.
pulmonology patients, and it happens back and forth.
everybody works together.
Absolutely.
And that's the whole point.
Indeed.
All for the common good, which is your, you know, good health.
Your good,
So
yeah.
yeah, which is your good. Okay, so how can someone get scheduled with you?
Talk to your primary care physician mainly. By and large, you just have to say, I want to see a lung doctor, and they'll get you over to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. And the great thing is you are in Jackson. Are you at the hospital location?
Yep.
Okay.
So I am at Jackson right now on Thursdays. I am in the OR roughly every other Tuesday doing the bronchoscopic biopsies with the endobronchial ultrasound. And then the rest of the week, I am working both inpatient and outpatient at the Gallipolis location.
Okay. Well, very good. Well, I tell you what, I know that you are busy and that you need to get back to work and fix your tire, by the way, and find out where your car is now.
Yeah.
But is there anything else you would like to tell our viewers while you're here?
I think First of all, thank you so much for having me. It's been
our pleasure.
a great pleasure. I think for your viewers at home, take your breathing seriously. Your lungs, they don't regenerate, but they can absolutely get better. I'm happy to help them with that, but there is, I think the biggest thing I'd say is, again, just to reiterate, being short of breath is never normal. All right. So if either you or a parent, a grandparent is looking like they're short of breath all the time, a lot of people say, "I'm just getting older." That is just not true.
Okay.
All right. There's nothing normal about not feeling like you can breathe. And absolutely try to get those patients in to see a doctor, me, a primary care physician, or another lung doctor. All right. Because it's worth having that worked up and diagnosed before it becomes a problem.
Very good. Good advice. All right. Well, I never let a doctor get out of here.
Sorry,
he has one more thing.
I have just one more thing. I'm sorry. I would be 100% remiss if I didn't mention the recommended screening for lung cancer. So if you are a smoker, all right, and you are above age 50, or you are a former smoker within the last 15 years above age 50, you should absolutely be discussing lung cancer screening with your physician. It's recommended at least once a year for people who have an extensive smoking history. So generally that's more than a pack a day for 20 years. And after age 50, it's recommended to get an annual lung cancer screening. It's very simple, very straightforward. It is what's called a low-dose CT to reduce the amount of radiation exposure. And it is just to look for those lung nodules we were talking about to make sure that the people at the highest risk for lung cancer are being monitored for things that could become lung cancer before they start to spread.
I gotcha. Yeah. Well, very good. See, listen to what he has to say. He's the expert. So what's your favorite thing about working at Holzer?
That's a great question. I think my favorite thing is, this might sound silly because it's in no way unique to Holzer, but it's absolutely the truth, is my favorite thing is being entrusted with patient's care. I think that is just about the greatest honor that you could give somebody, is trusting them to work with you and to keep you healthy. I can't imagine being asked to do something where I feel a greater sense of responsibility, and like I said, I'm honored that patients continue to come to me and continue to look for me to help with their care. I think that's fantastic.
That's precious.
Wherever you are.
Love that. That's beautiful. All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Sibert. If you are in thinking, what he said today hit home, I'm gonna talk to somebody. Please consider Dr. Sibert. He's awesome, and of course our medical care at Holzer, we're so fortunate to have them here in our area. So thank you for stopping by.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Of course. All right. Well, I'll tell you what, our good friend Kaylin is waiting in the wings, and we're going to find out about something exciting going on at Lake Hope this weekend. So we'll be right back.
From breaking news to heartwarming stories, the Telegram is your ticket to the latest buzz in town.
Read your daily dose of local headlines, sports, and entertainment and more, in hand and on paper.
Get a print and digital subscription for only $7.95 per month. Delivered fresh every Wednesday and Saturday.
Visit thetelegramnews.com or call 740-286-3023 today.
Don't just read the news, be a part of it.
Saturday, August 16th is Southern Rock Woodstock in the Gallipolis Fairgrounds. This event will feature 3 decades of original artists and legends, such as Leonard Skinner, 38 Special, and Molly Hatchet. In light of this event, Total Media will be giving away 4 VIP tickets. For a chance to win these exclusive passes, comment your favorite Southern Rock song, and our staff will vote on which one is the best. Good luck, and may the best man rock out.
All right, and we are back. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
It's always so fun to talk with Kaylin about all the fun stuff going on at Lake Hope. So she is here today to talk about something fun going on this weekend.
Yes, we have our annual youth fishing tournament on Saturday from 9 to 11. And
How cute.
Yep, we're really looking forward to it. Hopefully the rain holds off.
Won't rain on our parade.
I think it's supposed to rain later in the day. But yeah, it happens every year. I've been at Lake Hope for almost 10 years, and it's always a highlight of the springtime to watch all the little kids catch sometimes kind of big fish. So
The parents are like, wait a minute, how did they catch that little kid catch that big fish?
yeah.
How funny. So, fishing can be a little complicated, and if you don't, a lot of people might not have all the equipment, but maybe their kid or children want to participate. Do you have stuff that they can borrow?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, good. Okay.
So I have, all of the rods and reels and line and a tackle box, and we'll have bait available. And if this is your first time getting out and fishing, we'll also have a line that you can cast that doesn't have a hook on it, and you can practice casting.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep, it's a little tiny pole with a little plug on the end that looks like a goldfish cracker. So if you fling it and you hit somebody, it's not a big deal. So
They're not like, fish hooking someone's cheek. Right?
no. So I'll have all the equipment for you to borrow during the fishing tournament, and we can help you figure out how to go fishing, teach your kiddos how to do that, and then hopefully they like it enough that they can maybe get their own equipment and fish again at the park.
That is so fun. And so let's talk about where the fishing tournament is. How do people, get to where that is?
So we're going to have a big tent right on the dam of the lake, right off of State Route 278. You'll be able to see it. If you plug in to Google Maps the address for the park, you'll see as you're driving by.
Okay.
The tent right there on the dam. So that's where everything is going to be at. There's parking at the boat ramp. There's parking underneath the dam at the spillway. And then we'll be fishing right along the dam in that area so that you can, if you catch a fish, you're close by and we can bring it to the tent to weigh it and record the weights.
Is that kind of the point? I mean, as we're doing a fishing tournament, obviously getting the kids involved is the point, but,
Sure.
We got to win some prizes
We
too. Make a
absolutely
competition
do.
out of it.
We absolutely do. So what we've done is we break it down into 3 age groups.
Okay.
0 to 5, 6 to 10, and then 11 to 16. And the top 3 contestants in those age groups that caught a fish, the top 3 heaviest fish, I should say,
Okay.
by each kid in each class will win a medal. They'll win a medal.
Cute.
A little medallion.
Aww.
Yeah.
That's adorable. So what kind of fish are stocked in the lake out there that the kids could expect to catch? Because that's a whole thing, too, of just learning what the different fish are. And, I grew up with some family and whatever fishing down at Lake Jackson and Oak Hill. And, of course, you're just so excited. You catch these poor little bluegill that are, this big. And you throw them back because what do you do with them, right? But are there other fish out and about in Lake Hope?
I would say the top 3 types of fish that the youth tournament, the kids are going to be catching, or kind of in general people are looking for at Lake Hope would be your panfish. So something like your bluegill would be right up there, top 3. And then we have a good population of largemouth bass.
Oh, okay.
And then also channel catfish.
Ugh.
Yeah, channel catfish are, they're usually the heaviest fish that the kids catch for this particular tournament, because they're maybe about a pound, not really big.
But bigger than a bluegill.
But they're bigger than a bluegill oftentimes. So, and it's always fun to try and get those off the hook and teach them about where not to touch.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Because catfish are known to, they have little stingers? Is that what
They
it
do.
is?
So I think there's a myth, at least when I was younger, we always thought that the whiskers were like little electric eels and you didn't touch the whiskers because then you would get stung.
Yeah.
But there's actually pretty decent sized barbs in the pectoral fins, so that's the ones that are on the side. And there's a decent fin up here, the dorsal fin. There's like a bony barb that can really poke you, and it doesn't feel fun when you.
So they're not really electrocuting you. They're it's just their defense mechanisms, I would assume.
Yep.
Little stickers.
Yeah, it's like a spine, a little porcupine spine, if you will. Mm-hmm.
So you can teach the kids, though, safely how to. Because, listen, even as an adult now, I think about, like, you catch a fish, and even a bluegill, you have to hold it a certain way. If you go this way with it, you're going to get stuck. I mean, it's not going to, like, kill you or anything, but it doesn't feel the best.
Yeah.
So I think that's really neat that you're going to be there. There will be people there to help the kids learn. And then they could do it on their own, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely.
You just have to have that right mindset. I don't want to take the fish off the hook.
Right, or I don't want to put the worm on the hook. That's another squirmy thing that people don't like to do either.
Yeah.
So
I get it.
Yeah. You're welcome to use lures. We don't have any rules as far as the bait is concerned. So if you have your own lures and you want to do it that way, then that's fine too. So
okay,
yeah,
very cool. And all of that starts is Saturday. And what's the time again?
It's this Saturday, starting at 9 a.m.
Okay.
And it goes to 11 a.m. So we'll have everybody kind of wrapping up fishing about 10:45 and tallying all the fish that everybody caught, and then handing out prizes at 11.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And you can run up to the lodge afterwards and grab something great to eat, right?
You can. Yeah, you absolutely can. On your way to the lodge, the Friends of Lake Hope, our big support system there, is going to have some snacks for the kiddos while they're down at the tournament too. So
good.
So thank you to Friends of Lake Hope State Park.
Thank you. Very good. So what else is going on at Lake Hope while we have you here?
Oh my gosh, we have a lot of things going on.
'Tis the season.
Yes, I thankfully have a new counterpart with me, so I doubled what we're doing, and we have a lot of wildflower programs that we're going to be identifying different things that are blooming in the park. We have a lot of migratory birds that have been coming into Ohio and beyond, going north. In the last handful of days. So we have a lot of birding programs coming up. And then a big highlight for me in May is actually not happening at Lake Hope State Park. It's going to be happening at Shawnee State Park.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I want to just plug this really quick. This will be our third annual Nature Wellness Weekend. And it's happening May 16th, 17th, and 18th. So it's a full weekend. And you can register by contacting Shawnee State Park's naturalist, Jenny Richards, down there. And the Nature Wellness Weekend is all about relaxing, meditation, really like mindfulness practices in nature.
Love that.
So yoga, theta healing. I've done tree hugging before. We're going to have like a slow-paced kayak and creeking exploration.
Fun.
So if you're interested in that kind of thing, definitely contact Shawnee State Park.
Okay, and it is absolutely beautiful up there, as it is at Lake Hope as well. But they have the they have kind of a lodge there that everything's kind of inside.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
And that's where we'll be doing a lot of the programs out of. Well, of course, we're going to go into the park, but yeah.
Very fun.
I'm looking forward to that.
anything to relax, right? Chill out.
Yes, absolutely.
Love that. So, okay, so fishing tournament and then the wellness weekend at Shawnee. So you can check that out. Google it or whatever. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yep. So, all right. Anything else you wanted to tell our viewers while you're here?
I probably won't see you guys until Memorial Day weekend. A lot of our listeners are viewers, so we have a lot of stuff going on throughout the month, especially for Memorial Day weekend. So just look us up on Facebook or go to ODNR's website, and you can look up the full list of programs happening all through this month and on into the summertime.
There you go, and it's just nonstop. And get to Lake Hope, utilize that beautiful lake that there is there. The lodge is gorgeous. You can rent kayaks, right, and things like that. Can you fish?
You can fish. You can kayak for free with me,
Who doesn't want to do that?
or stand up paddleboard. I do free programs.
Not this girl.
It's fun.
I'll kayak.
It's fun.
That requires some coordination that Jen doesn't have.
A little bit, yeah.
Actually, it requires knees that work, and I don't have those either. So that's a whole other story. But, well, very good. So, yes, please check out all of the fun things that they have going on at Lake Hope. It is just a beautiful, beautiful place to be. You can hike. You can do all kind of fun stuff. So take advantage of it. One of the things that we have in our area is the beauty and our surroundings, and we should take more advantage of that.
Absolutely.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you for stopping by. We greatly appreciate it. Get the kids out, participate in the fishing tournament this coming Saturday. If, God forbid, or by chance, there is some icky weather, what do you say about that?
So we've done it in the rain, but if it
Okay.
ends up being inclement weather, where we're having some lightning, really heavy wind, then of course we'll cancel it. So
Okay. So just stay tuned.
stay tuned. Our Facebook is the best way that we can get information out quickly like that.
Okay.
Or you can call ahead to the park. That's fine. That's fine also.
Okay. Very good. Well, Kaylin, thank you for stopping by again. It's always fun
Thank
talking
you.
with you. And we'll talk about the two-headed snake some other time,
Yeah.
since Pete's here to do news.
Yeah.
And we found out that it's a Sonic the Hedgehog gene.
I did not know that.
See?
I didn't
You
know
learn
that.
something new every day.
Yeah. Yep.
Who knew? All right. Well, we will be back in just a moment with our good friend Pete Wilson and some news.
Did you know Jackson is home to a locally owned and operated full-service print shop? Zip Printing covers all your print, signage, and design needs. From business cards, booklets, and posters to yard signs, banners, screen-printed t-shirts, oversized signage, and more. We can help you or your business advertise and look good doing it. Zip Printing also offers logo design. Allow us to assist you in building or elevating your brand today. Zip Printing is located in the Stockmeister Plaza at 708 East Main Street in Jackson, Ohio. So stop in or give us a call at 740-286-3023.
Jackson, Ohio, are you planning for your family's financial future? Donnie Lucas, your local financial representative with the Western and Southern Life Insurance Company, is here for you in your hometown. He understands our community because he's invested in our community. Donnie will help you navigate planning for the unexpected or leaving a legacy with personalized service and solutions tailored for your financial needs. Insurance and financial products you can trust right here at home. Contact Donnie Lucas at 740-688-3145 or visit wslife.com/agent/G Lucas. The Western and Southern Life Insurance Company since 1888.
All right, and we are back with our good friend Pete Wilson. So I know that you missed me terribly yesterday.
Well, I tell you what, John Pelletier and I talked a good bit.
That's good.
He can talk just like you.
I know, it's like we're full of it.
Yeah, we are.
Yes,
we
all
are.
of us.
But we need to be until 10 o'clock. That's the
right.
way it works.
That's right.
Right.
So what is going on in the news?
Okay, well, we're going to start off with a sports story that I'm going to put at the top of the stack because I think it's a pretty amazing accomplishment. Last night, the Jackson High School baseball team defeated Chillicothe 8-0. That's nice. That's a Frontier Athletic Conference game. They're still in first place in the Frontier Athletic Conference. Still a lot of games yet to play. But Last night's victory was Jackson's 15th straight victory to start the season.
Nice.
Here they are. We thought it was worth taking their picture. There's also, by the way, a companion video on our Facebook page, interview with Gavin Jones, the senior pitcher, and the senior second baseman, Tucker Williams. They were two of the architects of this 8-0 victory. But 15 straight victories to start the season. You've got to understand baseball, Jennifer. First of all, you don't use the same pitcher every game.
Sure.
So you've got to have more than one good pitcher.
Yes.
You've got to be able to, of course, hit the ball, score more runs than the other team. The nature of the beast is you don't win all your games because sometimes maybe somebody might pitch their best pitcher and you're not pitching your best pitcher.
Right.
So it's not like your best against their best. Somehow Jackson has won all 15 games. They haven't necessarily creamed the opposition every game. They just find a way to win.
Yeah.
And so there is one of the great regrets throughout the sports aficionados and the officials and the fans for Jackson High School. There just is no official record book for a lot of the different sports. It's not just anecdotal, but it's in fragments. So it's hard to pull it all together and say you got a record or whatever. And we'll have to qualify this by saying we're not absolutely sure, but we're mostly sure that this has to be a record because
that is awesome.
Probably the person that has the most records overall is former Mayor Randy Heath, who also was a sports writer and journalist in his time too, and he has archives not just for Jackson County but beyond. He did a little homework for us, and he found out, because when Jackson had reached 10, we thought, I wonder if that's a record. Well, he did some research and found out that the 1965 team, coached by the late Dick Haller, won 14 games to start the season. So we got that information out to Coach Josh McGraw and the Ironmen to let them know what they needed to do to make what we feel for sure is the new record.
Yeah.
And last night, they accomplished that with that 8-0 victory. Jackson has, you never know how many games they're going to play because of weather, and then they reschedule. They'll do games, they'll do makeup games, they'll schedule new games that weren't on the original schedule, so we can't say how many more games they might play. But the regular season goes another couple weeks. It's starting later than it used to and going longer, and then they're in the tournament, of course. But we want to congratulate the Ironmen for
way to go, guys.
15 straight victories. So there will be a nice article in Saturday's paper about that on the newspaper side. Red Thompson did some nice interviews there, and as we said already, you can check out the Facebook page for some pictures that were taken. We've already posted that, and then that video. Gavin Jones pitched a one-hit shutout. He is one of the top players on the team, had a big RBI double that drove in 2 runs. Tucker Williams had a couple hits and played a good at second base as well. And so he was interviewed as well. So they're just very even-keeled.
Love that.
They find a way to win. They've won in extra innings. They've come from behind. They've won, I think, 4 one-run games. So, there's something happening there with that team. They just find a way.
They're clicking, for sure.
They find a way to get it done. All right. The Vinton County Wild Turkey Festival starts tonight.
You're right.
The Bain stuff is on Saturday, like it is with a lot of the weekend festivals, but it actually gets underway this evening. 5 p.m. will be the opening ceremonies, and the Vinton County High School Band will perform. They are practicing inside for another event, by the way. They recently had a big band concert where all the bands within the system played. But they will perform along with other opening ceremonies that take place at 5 p.m. And then later on in the evening, they're going to have a big karaoke contest. And that is always fun because you never know how that's going to go. And you always have some really talented people come forth because, that's the chance for the amateurs who have a lot of talent, but they just don't want to go that far as committing to be a pro or a semi-pro or whatever. So the karaoke contest is set for 6 p.m. And then, of course, the festival will run Friday through Sunday. Of course, the Telegram has already provided a lot of preview coverage. We'll be up there every day covering it. The radio folks will be there on WYRO doing live remote broadcasts starting today. They'll be there Friday and Saturday as well. And the festival will run through Sunday, late Sunday afternoon, and so a lot of entertainment, the crowning of the new queen and her court, the Little Miss Wild Turkey Festival, and the Little Mr. Gobbler and Little Miss Gobblerette.
Yep.
All that.
So much fun.
All that there. And then, of course, A.T. Hoy Transport is the Grand Marshal of the festival. We want to recognize them as well.
And you can get some great food.
Right. Oh, my gosh. That goes without...
So much fun.
That goes...
Fried everything.
That goes without saying. I hope you've dieted going into the week so you can kind of counterbalance what's going to happen this weekend if you enjoy yourself.
You got it. I mean, listen, you got to jump in there and get something that's bad for you. Yeah, it's just fun.
You really do. You only live once. Yeah, now, maybe you won't live as long.
You're right. That big giant fried cheese on a stick might take a year off your life, but it's worth it.
You only live once. Hey, there's another interesting thing that's developed that I think is worth saying. Jackson Superintendent of Schools Phil Howard made a decision. He announced it last night. But two of the school districts' fifth grade classes, so it was a pretty big group. I believe it was Westview and Southview Elementaries, two of the three elementaries. All those kids were going to COSI. Not sure if there was anything else involved, but it was, one of the field trips that often happens in the last month of school.
Love that.
Well, they got word from Columbus that they are going to have a jam in Columbus. And when I say a jam, a lot of people. There's going to be a protest downtown. I'm not exactly sure the nature of the protest, but it's organized. And the Columbus police are warning different folks who work in the city, who may come to the city. They're not telling you not to come, but they're warning you. They expect 10,000 people at that protest.
Oh, my.
I'm guessing it will center downtown around the State House.
Probably.
Which COSI is not very far away.
Yeah.
There on Broad Street. Also, if that weren't enough, there is a festival on the street that is near COSI. And so not only is there going to be traffic situations, there's going to be parking situations, and it was determined that likely the kids may have to walk a distance to get into COSI. That was the research that was kind of determined. As a result, Superintendent Howard has decided to cancel that field trip. Now, they were looking forward to it. A lot of parents were chaperoning. It is. They're going to try to reschedule.
Love that.
On a day when it would work better. But, that affects a lot of folks in town. And
I always loved doing those trips to COSI. I love it so much. It's so fun. Every kid should get to see it. So I hope they do.
Yeah, I know that there's a big deal made, and for good reason, about instructional time and losing instructional time. And they say if our kids aren't doing as well as they should in some of the academic subjects, too much noise as far as not being in the classroom. But I think you've got to have a balance. Is that educational to get out and do something different?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, it's educational and it's fun. Like the Farm Bureau has always done. I suppose they're going to do it again, the Ag Day, which they do in May.
It just exposes you to things that you wouldn't normally see, and I think that's so very important for the kids.
Right, and I think you've got to have a little variety in the class day too. I don't know what the master. I don't know what the golden balance is for that, but I know there's got to be. So I'm glad that the schools do field trips like they were going to do today, and all the schools do that.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the National Day of Prayer.
It is.
It's always the first Thursday in May, and we have arrived. It's May Day, and it's also the National Day of Prayer.
Yes.
And there will be programs in Jackson and Wellston, both at 7 p.m., separate programs. The Jackson program will take place at the Jackson Family Activity Center. I believe we talked about that with Terry Cavanaugh.
We did.
Since you talked with him, I will tell you that they've lined up some more music. The CLA band will be there.
Oh, goody. Okay.
Paul Hogue, who directs that band and is a very talented musician himself.
Oh, yes.
They will be there. The Oak Hill, they wanted to have the Oak Hill kids there, but they are not going to be available that day, and so that will kind of make up for that. Jackson High School choir members will be there as well.
Yep.
But some of the the Jackson Ministerial Association is doing that. Terry Cavanaugh is just one member working on that. But some of the speakers will be Bonnie Wade, Audrey Jones, Larry Foster, Terry Cavanaugh, of course, Mike Adams, Heather Michael, and Janie Carl. And for those of you who maybe didn't read the advance article in the paper or see the last installment of Main Street TV, it's going to be a little different. They're going to have prayer stations.
Yes, it's going to be really cool.
Right. It's going to be a little more informal. Instead of someone standing up at the podium speaking, reciting a prayer, there's going to be prayer stations where if you have a certain interest or concern on a certain theme, you can go to that prayer station. You got to get set up to where you can go to at least two, I think.
I think it lets people participate a little bit more too.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe people can come and go more like they want. I think Terry told me they would like to make it to about an hour or no more than an hour. Okay, in Wellston, Michael Jadrosink. Did I say that right?
Sure.
Okay, all right.
We're going with it.
You're not going to correct me. See, that was a trap, Jennifer. But anyway, that program is at 7 p.m. and it is at the Life Source Apostolic Church, which Officer Jay, we'll call him that. That's his church, and he is the organizer, and he will be in that as well. Other folks who will speak, and this will be spoken prayers as well as some music intertwined in there. In addition to John Pelletier, our own John Pelletier, and Officer Jay, there will be Josh Benson, John Stabler, Tim Jones, Tisha Montgomery, Seth Coulter, Rob Irvin will all be there, as well as a couple of groups, singing groups from the Life Source Apostolic Church and World Outreach Ministry. And Lynn Dimmel will sing some solos as well as the national anthem, I believe. We understand, not 100% confirmed, but we believe that there will not be a National Day of Prayer service in Vinton County as there has been in recent years. The organizer that's done that in the past just wasn't able to do it, and there was no news put out that another person picked it up late. Well, so they usually do that at noon in the courthouse, and I look for that to happen again, but they may have to skip this year.
You're more than welcome to come to one of the other area events.
Right, exactly. Tomorrow, Arbor Day has already passed, but the City of Jackson's Tree Commission is going to celebrate it tomorrow, a little belatedly, but it'll be nice. It'll be there at Manpower Park in the park called the Mayor's Orchard. They planted those apple trees there. Weren't sure how they were going to do, and they've done famously.
Yes, they've done
well.
They
planted a few more. I think we have a picture of one of the new ones that have been put. See, there it is. It
Look how well it's doing.
Blooming, looking very healthy. The Tree Commission gave us that picture. That is where the Arbor Day program will be. It's just not for the Tree Commission and the city officials and the tree huggers. Everybody can go to celebrate. Really, that's another thing that's happened in the city. The Tree Commission was reorganized a couple years ago, and those people that are on that Tree Commission are doing a great job in collaboration with the support of the city government to get a lot of tree planting going around all around the city. That part of the park is just across the creek from the Walgreens parking lot, so you might park there or anywhere close if you want to attend Arbor Day. It's tomorrow at noon. And the city and the Tree Commission invites you to come.
If we don't have trees, we don't breathe. So, they're kind of important.
Right. I also want to say, in case some of you had seen advanced publicity from the commissioners and the health department about the rabies clinics, there's going to be two of them. One was supposed to be this Friday, but it's not going to happen. It had to be canceled because the veterinarian that was going to do it could not do it because of a death in the family, unfortunately. But they hope to reschedule that. That would be at the Jackson Fire Station. We will let you know when that is rescheduled, if it is, but they want to do that. The second rabies clinic, and this is sponsored by the commissioners and the health department, only cost you $5 to get that rabies vaccination. That's a big savings.
Yes, it is.
That will be at the Madison Jefferson Fire Station in Oak Hill on Saturday the 17th from 1 to 4. We will remind you about all that. We're winding down here, but I do want to talk about one more thing at least. Today, the Jackson-Vinton Community Action is going to do a kickoff event for their preschool summer program.
Okay.
So that's a way to enrichment for your young kids. If you want to learn more about that, how to sign up, what it is, tonight from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Parkview Head Start. That's, of course, the site of the old Parkview School on West South Street. Downtown is going to be booming.
Oh,
I don't know
yes.
whether you'll be there to get the masses in the restaurant, but the Jackson Sidewalk Market, the
Yes.
first big event of
Woohoo!
the spring.
Love it,
lot
love
of
it.
street vendors, a lot of bricks and mortar businesses, a couple food trucks. Haven't heard about any entertainment. Wouldn't be surprised if someone's singing on the corner. But a lot going on there. The Marquee will also have its opening exhibit for their new gallery exhibit, which is called Pixel Perfect, and there's a contest involved with it.
Yep.
Cell phone photography.
Yep,
Can you beat
really
that?
cool.
That's at 7 p.m. at the Marquee. And that's it. The last thing was baseball, and I made that the first thing.
There you go.
There we are.
Well, Pete, thank you so very much for informing us on what you have and so much stuff going on this time of the year, but certainly tonight with National Day of Prayer and also in downtown Jackson, our sidewalk market kicking off the first one of the year, so we're excited about
Right,
that.
and we're gonna, the telegrams, and I'm sure some other folks involved with Total Media are gonna be covering or have a presence at all these things. As a matter of fact, we ran out of bodies. There's so much. I'm going to cover the prayer day service in Jackson and Wellston at the same time, so wish me luck.
You can do it, Pete. I have faith. If anyone can, you can
Well,
do it.
we're going to try to hit both of them somehow.
All right.
Because they're both worthy of coverage.
Okay, well, we will get out of here for the day, but we do have a message from our good friend Josh Willett, who is kind of filling us in on what's latest and greatest at the movies. So we're going to head to that and get out of here for the day, but keep watching for Josh. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Today we are here with our great friend Josh from the movies. So what you got for us today?
Yay! Oh my gosh, so many good things. This is the beginning. Since May is coming up, to me, this is your early summer schedule. So the big one this weekend is going to, of course, be Thunderbolts. I've been really excited for this one. Got to see, actually, the entire cast was at CinemaCon when I was there.
Was everybody at CinemaCon? Literally,
yes.
every celebrity was.
Yeah, so that was
I'm
crazy.
jealous.
And Thunderbolts is another one of your great anti-hero Marvel movies. So the descriptor for this says, Marvel Studios assembles an unconventional team of anti-heroes after finding themselves ensnared in a death trap set by Valentina Allegra de Florentine. These disillusioned cast-offs must embark on a dangerous mission that will force them to confront the darkest corners of their past. Will this dysfunctional group tear themselves apart or find redemption and unite as something much more before it's too late? So again, what I would say is, I'm going to call this the anti-hero Marvel thing to me is your Deadpool stuff, right? This is not your clean, wonderful, wholesome Marvel movie. It is rated PG-13, which is better than I thought. I thought it was going to be an R-rated for sure.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun. The poster, you had that poster up, and all of their advertising looks like a cereal box.
You're actually so right. It does look like a cereal box.
I would like to mention in the bottom left corner it says ingredients and lists all of the characters in the poster.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So all the advertisement stuff that we saw on it looked like a cereal box. I thought that was really interesting. Again, because I haven't seen the movie.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure what that has to do with anything. But I'm sure that there's something about it that will make it the cereal box and make it fun. So that's your big one at Tri-City this week. Along with that, of course, we will still be holding The Accountant 2, which we had open last weekend. Opened very well. I've heard good things about it. Sinners, we've had now for 2 or 3 weeks. That's the one with Michael B. Jordan. And I'm hearing amazing things about that movie.
Like, people have been talking about, like, how crazy their theaters have been blowing. Like, I saw this one guy talking about how, like, they had, like, a popcorn shortage because of it. Like, they came in and they just, like, ran out of popcorn because of it. Like, people were coming in just to go into Sinners.
Well, what we noticed is, so usually when you have a movie, it's opening weekend, we'll give you, so-and-so, so many people come.
Yeah.
And then the following weekend, that number is usually cut in half. For us, it went opening weekend, then it went down 6%, only 6 instead of 50. And then for the third week, it actually increased our attendance. So our attendance right now for Sinners is actually higher than it was in its opening weekend.
Wow, I actually haven't gotten to watch it yet. I heard it. I've only heard good things about it.
Yeah, so everybody, I've heard it's really cool. I was asked, like, do you want a spoiler? Do you want to know what the ending is? And the ending is the only part I have seen. So I do know what happens in the end. But again, I'm not going to spoil it. And Minecraft is still our number one movie here in Jackson. Actually, at all 3 of our theaters. It's our number one movie right now. I assume... We're assuming that Thunderbolts is going to take over that position, but right now it is still the number one. And in fact, I'm going to go out of order from what I told you earlier. So here in Chillicothe, the Minecraft movie thing has been so big that they are releasing what they call the Minecraft Block Party Edition. Ooh. And Block Party Edition is simply this. It is a showing where you're encouraged to watch, sing along, and as they say, meme along to the movie. So there are 2 separate showings. I believe me, meme along, I have no idea what the heck that means. So does it sound funny coming from me because you're giggling?
Yeah, a little bit.
What the heck does meme along mean?
No, like how you put it, it makes sense. Like I understand what you're meaning. Like y'all just scream chicken jockey. Like this is your chance for when you're like, I want to be disrespectful. Y'all can scream chicken jockey. Just don't throw no popcorn.
Right. Don't throw popcorn. Don't throw pop. We will still throw you out for that. But don't bring in a live chicken.
Yeah, or fireworks.
Or fireworks. Yeah. But this is the showing that is designed for people to actually be allowed to talk through that movie. Okay. If you want to sit down in a regular one, we also have that showing as well. This is only being presented that way in Chillicothe. Okay. So what I think is going to happen is you're going to have people who are probably coming back to see it the second time. I'm also guessing that it's their way of trying to... It's Minecraft's way of trying to compete with Thunderbolts. Let's just call it what it is. Yeah. They're trying to see if they can't get that second, second
rise,
wind. Yeah. So that Minecraft Block Party Edition. I'm not sure what to expect, and it really is. From my perspective, now my managers are not worried about it, which is positive. So, but from my perspective, I'm going, okay, so I'm giving permission to people to be obnoxious in the theater.
Yeah, this could go a few ways.
And they're being, and that's what's being encouraged. The, it's a different movie viewing experience. So... in worst case scenario, if it gets too bad, I'll just pull it. Yeah. So if I have to, it's like, no, this is too obnoxious. I can't do it. So really, that's it for Tri-City. And actually Silver Screen, as far as them and their new movies. Thunderbolts is the biggest new one for them. But in Chillicothe, there are 2 more movies that are coming that the next one is the movie Rust. So Rust, you might remember, is the movie where Alec Baldwin accidentally, discharged a firearm that had an actual bullet in it. So that movie has been kind of filled with controversy, and we honestly never knew whether it would truly be released. And they've not been very loud about the fact that it's being released. Yeah. I think it's going to be a good movie. It's a Western and it's an action movie, so I think people are going to see it. And I think people are also going to want to come see it because it has had so much... There's been so much talk around it for so long. I didn't even know it was finished.
Yeah, I didn't even... this is like the first I've heard that
so Chillicothe will be one of the few places that does have it. So if you really want to catch that movie, that'll be the time. 1880s Wyoming, recently orphaned Lucas Hollister accidentally kills a rancher and is sentenced to hang. In a twist of fate, his estranged grandfather, the notorious outlaw Harland Rust, played by Alec Baldwin, breaks him out of jail and takes him on the run towards Mexico. As they flee across the unforgiving wilderness, the fugitive pair must outrun the determined U.S. Marshal Wood Helm and a ruthless bounty hunter named Preacher. So again, I think it's going to be a good movie, you know, set in the 1880s, a Western. It's always nice to have those films. So
I love a good, like, period piece.
I think it could actually do a little bit better than our typical Western movies just because of all the talk that has been around that movie for so long.
Yeah, definitely.
And then the last new one for us. Okay, so I have a love-hate relationship with Nicolas Cage movies. I'm not going to lie. So this movie is The Surfer. Now, the last Nicolas Cage movie that I went to see was The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, where it was Nicolas Cage playing Nicolas Cage. And if you watch Main Street TV with me, you will remember me talking about that. It was designed to be a funny movie, and it kind of was. I personally walked out of it.
Really?
I didn't like it. But it was funny. But this one is Nicolas Cage. A man returns to the idyllic beach of his childhood to surf with his son, but is humiliated by a group of powerful locals and drawn into a conflict that rises with the punishing heat of the summer and pushes him right to his breaking point. So Nicolas Cage, again, you can see locals only on the little poster thing on the car. Again, he is just... I think it's going to be a typical Nicolas Cage kind of movie. Nicolas Cage movies never tend to do great for us, and I'm never sure why. And Nicolas Cage is one of those people who it seems like he always has a new movie.
I know. I'm always seeing him on the screen. Like, I'll just be watching a movie and I'll be like, there he is. I'm just like, he's always around.
So if you're a Nicolas Cage fan, R-rated movie, it's an R-rated thriller for language, suicide, some violence, drug content, and sexual material. So again, probably not one you're going to take your kids to, but if you're like Nicolas Cage movies, this one is probably a great one for you. And actually, I've had a lot of people ask if we're going to have that one. So in Chillicothe only for us. So those are your big ones this week. I did want to tell you that, again, we're hitting the beginning of May, and to me, these are the teaser movies for the summer. The summer is always a huge time for the theaters, and it starts in May. And then when you hit June, July, you usually get your major blockbusters. So, of course, Thunderbolts this weekend is our blockbuster release. May 9th, there's honestly, we're not sure what we're going to have as far as new content next week. There's a possibility you might not even hear from me next week because there might not be anything new. But we're going to see how that goes. And it's not that there aren't new movies. It's that there are 20 new movies. Nothing is a blockbuster, and so nobody really knows what to take yet.
Yeah, that's understandable.
So if you know of something that's coming at that particular time, send us a message on Facebook Messenger and let us know, hey, are you planning on having this particular movie? I know that there's a movie called a comedy with Tim Robbins called Friendship. There's a drama musical romance, Romeo and Juliet. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones that have been mentioned to me at that time. Fight or Flight is an action comedy. Again, none of these are slated to be blockbusters, so we're not quite sure what we'll have yet for that particular week. Tri-City will probably hold the same 4 movies next week. So probably nothing new for them. Once we get to May 16th, we get Final Destination Bloodlines, one of our new horror movies. And the one that will probably be at Tri-City is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Rise of Leo. Okay? And then when we get to May 23rd, the new Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. So to me, this is Mission Impossible Part 9, Part 2. Okay, so you'll have that, and that is the release of Lilo and Stitch.
There's been a lot of buzz around that one.
Yeah.
I have high hopes for it. I'm really excited for it.
So I'm looking forward to that one too. There's also a movie called The Last Rodeo. I am guessing that if I remember correctly, this is the new Angel Studios movie. Probably will end up in Gallipolis and in Chillicothe, but probably will not be in Jackson. Not a guarantee, but as of right now, because of the two major releases, that one will probably end up in one of the other two places because we have more screens. And then we'll kick off Memorial Day and the unofficial kickoff to summer with Karate Kid Legends.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about that.
And when we get to summer, there's lots of great things. There's the movie Ballerina, which is the female John Wick. Lots of great buzz around that. The Life of Chuck is a drama that I've had lots of people telling me they're looking forward to. June 13th, How to Train Your Dragon. So this will all be the kickoff of summer. Elio, we've been seeing trailers for Elio on these animated movies for the last, 8 months. So that one finally comes out. There's a movie with Rebel Wilson called Bride Hard. It's a Rebel Wilson movie. I'm sure it'll be really funny. Looking forward to that one. F1 is the new Brad Pitt Formula One racing movie, and that's the same weekend as Megan 2.
That's going to be a big weekend.
I loved the original Megan, so I can't wait for Megan 2. When you hit July, the July 4th weekend, you'll get the new Jurassic World Rebirth. So it's going to be a really great summer. I'm looking forward to that, but we're just kind of starting to push into that particular season. So
I'm really excited. There's going to be a lot of movies this summer. I'm going to need to catch up on movies.
So again, with the thing that I'll tell you with that is the knowledge that there's so many movies that we're talking about, 1 or 2 major new releases every week. Odds are the major new releases we will have in Chillicothe. We will probably have at Silver Screen, but sometimes we have to pick which one we'll have at Tri-City. So just be aware. And because they come so fast, you'll want to catch it within its first 2 weeks. There's no guarantee that it will be there a third week. So just be aware those things are going to come quick. We've made it through most of our renovation things here in Jackson. The new seats have been installed. The new fountain machines are in. Everything that I've heard is every time I'm there, people go out of their way to basically tell me thank you.
That's good.
So that's very positive. Free summer movie schedule. I will have that out. We're hoping by the end of the week. We're waiting on the official confirmation from the studios, but our free summer movies will start Tuesdays here in Jackson, beginning in June.
Ooh.
So maybe that'll be what I get to come in and talk a little bit more about next week.
That'll definitely be fun.
So, but we're on the move. Lots of great things coming.
Okay. Do we got anything else?
I don't, unless you have a question for me.
No. This might have been the fastest segment we've ever done.
Well, and that's what I told him. I had a goal to be under 10, but I have a feeling that I'm over.
Well, thank you for coming on.
Yes.
It was really nice hearing about the movies, and I'm really excited.
Me too.
About the summer. And I hope you guys are too. Make sure to keep your eyes peeled for those free summer movies and for the upcoming summer movies. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
And I am hoping to see you all next week. Thank you.
Hi, Mom.